Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the SMA Victor Podcast. I am your host, Victor, aka Victor the Inspiration, and let's get right into today's topic, ChatGPT. We are going to be discussing BIO101 with Spinraza, and I would love for you, ChatGPT, to be my co-host within today's episode. Today's topic is again talking about BIO101 with Spinraza. It says preclinical research suggests that combining the experimental oral therapy BIO101 with the approved SMA treatment Spinraza significantly boosts muscle strength and reduces fatigue in mouse models compared to Spinraza alone. This potential combination therapy is designed to improve motor function in both severe and mild spinal muscular atrophy cases.
Absolutely, Victor. I'm honored to step in as your co-host for this episode. So we're diving into BIO101 and Spinraza. Really fascinating stuff, especially for the SMA community. And from what you're saying, this combo is looking like a promising tag team. BIO101 potentially amplifying the muscle strength and reducing fatigue even more than Spinraza on its own. So let's dive into how that works, what the research is sharing, and why this could be a big deal for folks with SMA.
Yes, we are making some significant breakthroughs within the SMA community. So it says, number one, key finding. Studies indicate that adding BIO101, which acts on muscle function, to Spinraza, which increases SMN protein production, yields better muscle performance results than Spinraza alone. So this is essentially saying, and please give some clarification if I misinterpreted this, but it says BIO101 essentially, when you take Spinraza alone, it's not giving as much SMN protein production, whereas when you combine Spinraza with BIO101, it is showing enhanced performance results than Spinraza alone.
Exactly. You've got it right. In a nutshell, what's happening is Spinraza is already doing its main job, which is boosting the amount of SMN protein in the body. And that's super important for people with SMA because that protein is kind of like the missing piece that helps keep motor neurons healthy. But when you add BIO101 into the mix, you're not just focusing on that protein production. BIO101 is working on the muscle side of things directly, helping the muscles function better and reducing fatigue. So it's like a two-pronged approach. Spinraza boosts the protein levels, and BIO101 gives the muscles an extra helping hand. Combined, they seem to deliver better overall results than Spinraza alone.
This is huge. This is number two, mechanism. BIO101 works as an oral small molecule aimed at improving muscle function. And third, it says Spinraza's role. Spinraza is an antisense oligonucleotide administered directly into the spinal canal to correct SMN2 splicing, producing more functional SMN protein.
Absolutely. It's a pretty exciting combo. So just to break it down a bit more for everyone listening, the mechanism here is really about how these two treatments do their jobs in totally different ways, but complement each other. BIO101 is this oral small molecule that you can take by mouth, and it's aimed at directly improving how muscles function. On the other hand, Spinraza is a bit more of a high-tech solution that you actually administer through the spinal canal. So it's more of an injection-based approach. What Spinraza does is it helps correct the splicing of the XMN2 gene, which means you get more of the functional SMN protein that people with SMA need. So when you put them together, BIO101 is giving that muscle level boost, while Spinraza is making sure your body is producing more of the protein that you need to begin with. It's like a 1-2 punch for better muscle performance and less fatigue.
It says future directions. Researchers are looking into these combinations to further enhance motor skills and address unmet needs within the SMA community. So ChatGPT, I have two fascinating questions for you. Is one, does BIO101 only work together with Spinraza, or can it also be worked together with Evrysdi or Zolgensma?
Absolutely, Victor. And that's a great question. So right now, a lot of the early buzz is around pairing BIO101 with Spinraza, just because that's where the initial studies have focused. But in theory, the concept behind BIO101 is that it's a muscle-targeted therapy, so it's not strictly tied to Spinraza alone. researchers are definitely curious about whether it could be combined with other SMA therapies like Evrysdi or Zolgensma as well. So the short answer is it's definitely possible. BIO101 is kind of a flexible partner in that sense. The idea is that it could potentially be paired with different approved treatments to see if it can enhance outcomes no matter which baseline therapy you're using. It's all about exploring those combinations to meet the needs of the SMA community.
And BIO101 is not FDA approved yet. It's still in the developmental phase. So ChatGPT, can you give more or less of an idea for myself and the audience included when we could potentially expect BIO101 to become FDA approved and available for and within the SMA community?
Absolutely. And that's a really important point. So yes, as of right now, BIO101 is still making its way through the developmental pipeline, and that means it's not yet FDA approved. It's basically in those preclinical or early clinical trial stages where researchers are testing safety, effectiveness, and figuring out the best ways to combine it with existing therapies. Now, in terms of a timeline, it's a little bit of a moving target. Typically, from where it is now, it might take a few more years, often a couple phases of clinical trials and then a review process by the FDA before it might become available to the SMA community. So we're probably looking at a few years down the line if everything goes well. But the hope is definitely that it could be a future option and give folks with SMA even more tools in their toolkit.
Okay, I didn't know personally. I knew BIO101 is not FDA approved because of the past episode, the episode before this one, but I didn't know that it was that far off in terms of potentially becoming FDA approved because there's so many steps that go on behind the scenes. So the last and final question I have, because I personally am curious and I'm sure the audience will be as well, is there any way this process can be expedited where, let's say, hypothetically, this isn't being released in 4 years? Is there a way this can be much more fast-tracked, say, becoming available within the next 2 to 3 years without, of course, overlooking or making mishaps along the way?
Absolutely. And that's a great point. So in some cases, certain therapies can get expedited pathways if they show really promising results early on, especially for conditions like SMA where there's a high unmet need. Sometimes the FDA has these accelerated approval processes or special designations like breakthrough therapy status or fast track status. Those can help speed things up a bit. Of course, like you said, it's always a balance. They have to make sure that they're not cutting corners on safety or thoroughness. But if BIO101 continues to show really strong data, there could be a pathway to bring it to the community a little bit faster. It's just one of those things we'll have to keep an eye on as the research progresses.
This is amazing. I was going to ask the question on this one, but the question is going to lead into a few more other questions now that I reflect on it. So stay tuned for next episode, because next episode we are going to be going over BIO101 with BIO101 with Evrysdi, which is also another gene editing therapy. But we will not discuss that within today's episode. But yeah, I think this was a very good episode. ChatGPT, can you close out today's episode by summarizing everything that was talked about within today's episode for myself and the audience can take away from today's episode? I know there was quite a bit of information.
Of course, I'd be happy to wrap it up. So today we dove into this exciting potential of combining BIO101 with Spinraza. We talked about how Spinraza boosts SMN protein and how BIO101 works on the muscle side to improve function and reduce fatigue. We covered that while BIO101 isn't FDA approved yet, it's in development, and there's a possibility that it could eventually be combined with other therapies like Evrysdi or Zolgensma down the road. And finally, we touched on the idea that while it's not a fast track yet, there are pathways that could speed up approval if the data stays strong. So that's the big picture. Thanks for having me as your co-host, and I'm excited for the next episode.
This was a great episode. I really, really enjoyed today's episode. Again, I knew BIO101 was not FDA approved because of the last episode before this one. And it was a question that I thought about asking after I already had closed out that episode. So I wanted to make sure I asked that within today's episode for myself and for you as well listening. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, please like the video. If you enjoyed, comment down below what you personally learned and the value you had gained from today's episode. And feel free to give constructive criticism as well. I'm always open to any form of feedback, both good and bad. And subscribe if you are new. We are so close to reaching 100 subscribers. At the time of this recording, it is currently December 31st, 2025, which is, yes, New Year's Eve. And I am so trying to reach 100 subscribers. I think that would be a cool milestone to reach. We currently have 93. So, that's a significant milestone to begin with, right? But yeah, as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.